Hello, class. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It is a pleasure to be back in HD311. This has got to be one of my favorite classes. So I get happy and I feel alive when I'm here with you. How have you been? Good. Thank you. I saw someone who looks like you, Trader Joe's on Friday. It was not you. But you have a virtual twin out there who looks like you. So just so you know. I hope you're doing well and surviving the start of week 12 well. This is week number 12. We are climbing quickly now to week number 15, which is the end of classes. And then finals week is in week number 16. So I have been an undergrad student before like you. I understand how challenging it can be. So you do your best, you know, this passes and you move on to more exciting things in your life. Very quickly, where are we and what's the plan for the day? Today we are in Siegel, chapter 2 of our text. I uploaded a slide deck yesterday with chapter 2, and I realized I have some of chapter 3. So we'll stop at the end of chapter 2, and then we'll pick it up and finish, do and finish chapter 3 on Wednesday. That's our plan. So in terms of where are we and where are we going, copy and paste from your syllabus is right in front of you. And today we are in 2. Wednesday, we will cover and address chapter 3. And then next week, we will be in project mode. So you need to be finalizing the projects. I gave you feedback. Feel free to let me know if you need me to put eyes on it one more time for you and with you. I'll do it as my time allows, but I remain available to you. Your syllabus says that you need to submit on the 21st of October. So that's fast approaching. So you need to connect with your colleagues and make sure that the work is submitted on this day. And then on the 22nd and on the 24th, we are processing and watching those presentations. Okay, so let me know where we're at. In fact, there's no class on, well, there is class on the 24th. We'll see if we process all of the projects here, we won't come together here. But if we are not done, then we need to come together on the 24th. And at the most, it will be a short class on this Wednesday, just before Thanksgiving. And then when we come back from Thanksgiving, we finish our Siegel text. Well, not finished, but we have chapter 4, chapter 5, and I think there's one more week that couldn't fit on this slide. So in that week, we will do chapter 6 on the Monday, and then it will be our final class on the Wednesday. So the hills of where we are going are now in sight, my father used to say. So I think we're kind of at that point in our semester where the hills of our final destination are finally in sight. So we continue to run on schedule, on time. And so please let me know if you have any questions or any concerns about where we are and where we are going with our course. We will have visitors, I think, for this class over here. On the 29th, I will let you know, but they are here for me, not for you. So you are plenty fine. You do you, I do me, they do them. Everybody has a good day afterwards, okay? All right, are there any questions at this time? Okay, you can let me know. A bonus point opportunity. This time last year, they put together 2 workshops. One on how to format your work in APA style. And so the videos are available here. They are short, but they are sweet. They will change your life, I promise. And once this opportunity passes, I hold you to this expectation. What you watch and see in the video, it's the same APA style. So it's, we need our upper division students to have mastered APA style before they leave, before they graduate. And some folks have taken more than one class with me and still don't have reference sections that resemble what you will be taught here. That's a problem. So please, this is how we are going to help you get on track in terms of the APA writing style expectations. Very, very important. And I give you 10 bonus points. So if someone is looking for bonus points, you can get them here. So the deadline for this puppy is going to be, oh, it's not Friday, but for you, it's 16. The 16th, which is tomorrow midnight. So if you can do that, you earn yourself some bonus points. All I want is a paragraph letting me know that you watched the presentation. Some of you had more than one class with me, and you earn points in the other classes and in this class for doing this assignment too, okay? All right. Any questions about the bonus point opportunity? All right, all of the pictures you see in today's presentation are not mine. Leaf peeping, Oregon. Enter Google search and boom, I get some nice pictures. I'm really frustrated and angry because those pictures are nicer than mine. Like a whole lot nicer than my pictures. So I might need to invest in a nice camera. I need to go for therapy and get a check because this really just, it's like, really? These are nice pictures. But you see there's sunlight, so that does something, you know? So I wonder if it's, my situation is a whole lot worse because I don't have sunlight. I don't know. Anyway, I'm having a hard time processing this, okay? So that's one of my stresses at this time. All right, so chapter 2 of our text. In this presentation, I process questions I've received in the past concerning what we read in our book. I will open a portal for every week that's remaining for us as we process this Siegel and Bryson text for you to post questions. If I can look at them before class, I might be able to bring responses to class with me, okay? But in the past, students gave me questions, and so you will see some of those questions in the responses, and we process them together as we walk through the remainder of Siegel. And so I will let you know in my announcement tomorrow if that portal is up. Always post the questions there, and I'm sure we'll have tons of fun. In chapter 2, it says 2 brains are better than 1. And so in chapter 1, we set it all up and talked about integrating the left and the right. And so we are going to read the story about Katie and her dad, Thomas, this princess who got frustrated, afraid, and even sick after they went to school. Something happened. So you should have read about this in your preparation for this class. So that was separation anxiety, clearly, right? So you can, now, the Siegel and Bryson don't go there in that way in their chapter 2, they don't. But you see what you need to do as you prepare for your remaining essays and even your final for this class, right? Because our final is solely going to be on this text. I want you to be able to show me that you can make connections between Berg and this text. And so all of this information we studied in the chapters we processed from Berg. And Berg helped us understand separation anxiety. At what age do babies show separation anxiety? Question for you. Do you remember what we learned in Berg? When do we see the onset of separation anxiety? When do kids start developing a preference for specific caregivers? Oftentimes mom, or significant parent or parents. Well before, well before toddler age. When a kiddo, doesn't necessarily want to be separated from mom too quick, and certainly not with strangers. Certainly well before 2 years. Nope. I think it's 9 months. Yes. About 9 months, there's this distinct preference for mom and or significant adults in kiddo's life. Oftentimes mom, oftentimes other parent. Yeah. So certainly by toddler age, they don't want to be left unattended. They don't want to be separated from parents. You can't just rock up somewhere and say, I'll be back, and this person, they're my good friend, is gonna take care of you. Hell no. That's not happening, right? With some kids. So we are reading in chapter 1, when we get there, this story that really gives us a beautiful picture of this separation anxiety. And this is one of those places where you can make those connections, because when you brush up on your notes from Burke, we did touch on separation anxiety, when it starts, what it is, and what's happening in the child's brain. And the important point is we talk about integrating the left and the right brain that we talked about in the last class. Between the ages of 0 and 3, our kiddos are right hemisphere dominant, right? So we talked about what those two functions are, as I pose another question to the class and have us think about what is happening in the left and right brain during separation anxiety. So the first thing we want to do to address that question is try and remember what the left brain is responsible and what the right brain is responsible. So right now, which part of your brain is more active than the other? Yes, ma'am. Yo? The left part of your brain. Why do you think your left brain is more active right now? And that's a question to everybody. Thank you. Right? Logic. Very good. So the left brain is logical, linguistic, and literal. And so when you are doing things that require executive functioning, paying attention in class, holding your farts in, holding your burps in, all of that stuff, that's your left brain that's kind of keeping you in check and allowing you to remain engaged. That's your left brain. So the right brain is emotional, it's nonverbal, experiential, and autobiographical. There are several things you can do to help your baby through separation anxiety. So let's go back up. Now that we have talked about what's happening during left and right, in left and right brain, as outlined in the first chapter. So how do we help kiddos during separation anxiety? So before we go there, why don't it's a good part for us to whip out our books and go to chapter 2, and let's do a little bit of reading and see what happened with this school experience incident before we talk about how do we help kiddos process and go through separation anxiety. Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. I don't mind reading the first paragraph because I like reading too. 2 brains are better than 1, integrating the left and the right. Thomas's 4-year-old daughter, Katie, loved her preschool and never minded saying goodbye to her dad when it was time for him to leave, until the day she got sick in class. Her teacher phoned Thomas, who came to pick her up right away. The next day, Katie began crying when it was time to get ready for school, even though by then she was feeling fine. The same thing happened morning after morning for the next few days. He could eventually get her dressed, but things only got worse when they arrived at the school.
As Thomas put it, Katie would increasingly freak out once they got out of their car in the school parking lot. First, she began to practice some sort of civil disobedience as they approached the school building. She would walk alongside her father, but as she somehow made her tiny body heavier than a grand piano, her resistance would turn their stroll into more of a drag. Then, when they reached the classroom, she would squeeze her dad's hand harder and harder and form the classic power, putting all of her baby grand weight on Thomas's leg. When he could finally extricate himself from her clutches and exit the room, he would hear her shout above all the noise of the other kids, "I'll die if you leave me."
Sounds more like a team. Someone else can keep going.
This type of separation anxiety is very normal for young children. School can be a scary place at times, but as Thomas explained, Katie absolutely lived for school before she got sick. She loved the activities, the friends, the stories, and she adored the teacher. So what happened? How did the simple experience of getting sick create such an extreme and irrational fear in Katie? And what was the best way for Thomas to respond? His immediate goal, come up with a strategy to get Katie to willingly attend school again. That was his survival goal, but he also wanted to turn this difficult experience into an opportunity that would benefit Katie in both the short term and long term. That was his thrive.
We'll come back to how Thomas handled the situation. Help his daughter. Specifically, he understood what was going on. Some simple principles.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So the book is going to help us unpack how to help minimize separation anxiety and how to integrate the left and the right. So kiddo got lost in the waves and the chaos and the emotional intensity of the experience in right brain mode. So how then do we connect with the left brain that, hey, you don't get sick every time you go to school. And if you do, it's not the end of the world, and oh, you're not statistically, you're not likely to die. Won't rule it out. We gotta live at 0.0001 chance that something might happen. But you know what? That's a conversation for you when you're 18. Right now, you're cool, girlfriend. You ain't gonna die. You're gonna be fine. You know. So how do we make a connection with all the emotional intensity with the left brain? That hey, you are gonna be fine, and we've done this many, many times. And you have had many wonderful experiences at school, right? So how do we help baby through separation anxiety? Our 0 to 3-year-olds. What are your thoughts before we move forward and process some of Burke's writing? How do we process and help kiddos with separation anxiety? Some of you take care of kiddos. And so the parents, you walk into the house, parents say, hi, we chit chat about nothing for a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and then the parents leave. Some of the kids you take care of have separation anxiety. How do you deal with that? How have you dealt with it? What are your thoughts around helping kiddos manage separation anxiety? Yeah. Give me an example of what you mean by comfort, offer comfort.
So immediately after they leave, when the house was crying, like, hey, it's okay, go to work, come back, just reassuring them that the person that they're with is gonna come back. And then try to distract them with something that's light.
The distraction.
Yeah, which then, for me personally, like it usually works. They then get distracted with their playing, and then they completely forget that the parents are there.
Okay, awesome. Yes, ma'am.
I used to watch 5 Kids all at once and range of ages from like baby to 5-year-olds was the oldest. And whenever the parents would leave, like if I sat down and just like in their terms, like explain what happened, like, yeah, mom's gone, like dad's gone, they're eating out of a nice fancy place and they're gonna be back in like 2 hours. Oh, and your mom, she left you like cookies and a coloring book, and then like what she said, like explain it first so they understand that their parents didn't just leave them for the rest of their lives. And then distract them with like something that reminds them of, yeah, like something that reminds them of eating with their family or playing with their mom.
So distraction and then play.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like it.
Would it be good to explain it in like kid language to where they would understand it?
Yeah. So you have to use yeah, exactly. Good job for remembering the video.
Like they'll be back after like nap time or something,
Okay.
because it works for
Yes, it's usually like words that they understand. So if they like say, "Mom wants to go get food," you kind of say it in the same words that they do. That way they understand what you're saying. They're not like, "Oh, what is getting dinner?"
Right.
Instead of getting food or eating.
Yeah, wonderful. Love your suggestions. I have a few here. Arrange childcare with people familiar to your child. Let your baby get to know a new caregiver first. So our regular went away for several weeks. And so well, my kids are older, but still, even with the older kids, we arranged for a meet and greet with the new babysitter. So they came over to the house, we hung out, we had a meal, everybody got to know each other to create that familiarity. It's more important for our 0 to 3-year-olds. Make it a routine. Plan ahead and where possible, have a routine in place such that the child knows that, hey, on 3 mornings of the week, I have so and so coming to take care of me. That helps. Practice separation anxiety, addressing separation anxiety at home. Practice going outside for 10 minutes. Give your baby time to get comfortable. So the last time I needed someone to take care of, my kids are older, but imagine a 0 to 3-year-old. Last time when I needed someone to watch the kiddos, that person ran a few minutes late and I needed to be at my appointment. I needed to get going quickly. So they sent me a text to say, on my way there in a few minutes. I put on my coat and my hat and I was waiting at the door. And this person, I said hi to them at the door as I was walking out. Now, with younger kids, you have to chill, relax, do the distraction play thing. This person is safe. We are having a great time, and it can make for less separation anxiety when it's time to actually exit and leave. Always say goodbye. Huh? Think of all the kiddos you've worked with. Do the families, significant parent, do they say goodbye to the kid? Before people read and come into contact with this knowledge, they want to just slither away as they are doing the play distraction thing. That can actually increase a kiddo's separation anxiety, because when it does switch 20 minutes later, an hour later, whenever later that my parent is gone, that can frighten the child, and you might not necessarily see the impact and the effects of that immediately, but it can create anxiety for the child, because you know what, I'm just going to realize after a hot minute that they're not here, they just left me. Might be having fun, but I like having mom here. So saying goodbye is very important, even if it leads to some distress when 10 minutes later, mom now actually has to leave and go. Keep it light. It's not a funeral. It's not a 10-year separation. So don't treat it as such. Chill, take it easy. Once you leave, leave. It's a day, was I going to a class? I don't remember. Where was I going? But I came back to the house 3 times. I kid you not. Just forgetting stuff. Forgot 3 times. And I was like, oh, I think I'm getting old. What's happening with me today? Could have been just super disorganized that day, super relaxed. I don't know, all of the above. But that was a reality check. It's like, bro, what's going on, Now, if you have young kids, you can't roll like that, Take what you need and go. Why is this all so important? It's because our left brain likes to know the linear cause and effect relationship in the world and to express that logic with language. So it's very important to explain to kiddos. Okay, all right. Any questions about separation anxiety and this first vignette of chapter 2 as we get ready to talk about how to connect the left and the right brain? That's where all this is leading. With Katie, she got super frightened when mom and dad left her at school. And then she got sick there. So she then got lost in the world of right brain and the feeling that she felt when she was sick and her parent wasn't there to help and support her. Okay, let's keep going. So what is the evidence that children are right hemisphere dominant? So we said here that 0 to 3-year-olds are right hemisphere dominant. Yay, what's the evidence? You gotta show me the money, baby. Where's the money at? All right, money's right here. We know they are right hemisphere, and this was a question that someone said. I don't know if it's addressed directly like this in the text, but someone says, yeah. What's the evidence? They haven't yet mastered the ability to use logic and words to express their feelings. That's one way we can tell that they are right hemisphere dominant. So a lot of you said, explain to them what's happening, that mommy and daddy are gonna go to, what's that sailor's restaurant where they do a lot of meat? You know the restaurant I'm talking about? It's a big meat steak type place near Mall 205. You know what I'm talking about? What is it called? They have I don't know how many pound steak when you walk. Yeah, this big, the steak is this big and they can cook it for you. I promise you, it's this big. Like, that's gluttony. I like meat, but I can call out gluttony when I see it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, forgetting the name of the restaurant. Anyway, we should try to explain to the kid that your parents have gone to eat a nice meal, a nice steak somewhere. They might not hear you. They might not understand anything if they're too far gone into right brain and they are lost in the fear that my world is about to collapse on me. And they might not be able to explain that. In fact, they can't. That's another way we can tell that, hey, this person is lost in right brain mode. Not only kids get lost in there, sometimes adults get in there too. But adults have learned to relax, and then explain yourself. Kids haven't learned that yet. Kiddos live their lives completely in the moment. Logic, responsibilities, and time don't yet exist for them. Why? Why don't all these things happen? Why are they not there yet? Because our left brain likes to know and understand linear cause and effect relationships in the world and to express that logic with language. If the left hemisphere was not fully functional, wouldn't babies just be emotional train wrecks all the time? So we do know that there's stuff in the left brain. It's not yet fully developed. They don't have all the words in the language, but there's a lot going there and they're able to pull and recognize that, hey, you know what? I'm upset, I'm angry, but I've seen this person before. They're not gonna hurt me. So what might then happen? They might cleave to you as you offer them words of comfort, as you rub their back, tell them all kinds of lies, you liars. As you comfort them, right? And as you get ready to destroy, as you prepare destruction number 1, right? Any questions about evidence of kiddos being right hemisphere dominant? Oh, you want to talk to each other? Okay, you will. Hang in there. We'll get there. You can see you're itching to chat. Oh, you will chat in just a second. 2 halves make a whole, combining the left and the right. So I think Siegel picks it up not on the next page, but further down here. Two halves make a whole, starting from page 18. All right. So combining in the right, what's the physiology here? The physiology, we're talking about what actually is the hardware right here that connects those two. It's a part called the corpus callosum. My nursing majors, where you at? Okay, corpus callosum. Okay. Feel free to add any information from your additional language and expertise and knowledge from your biology classes. This is a bundle of fibers that runs along the center of the brain, connecting the right hemisphere and the left. First time we talked about this was in general psychology, chapter 2 on biology. We read a whole lot more about this corpus callosum in Burke. In Burke chapter 1 and 2, where we talk about biology again, the physiology and the hardware of the body. So a well-integrated brain, this is when the two sides of their brain can act in harmony. And so both are very valuable and they can work together. They are supposed to work together under normal circumstances. The goal is to avoid living in an emotional flood that was talked about in chapter 1. On page 12, where you have an emotional flood or an emotional desert. We want to allow our non-rational images, autobiographical memories, and vital emotions to play their important roles, but we also want to integrate them with the parts of ourselves that give our lives order and structure. So we don't want our emotions to do all the interpreting because our emotions are fleeting. What if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Should your day be entirely ruined because of that? What if there's a minor little accident that happened, spilled milk? So, Karina, when we went to Trader Joe, my daughter likes to help. She likes to be super helpful. So she grabbed a bag, and when it was time to put the bag in the trunk, the bag ripped. And then she was so mad. She's like, I just ruined our groceries. I'm like, nothing's ruined. Everything is gonna be fine. So she doesn't need to let her emotions dictate the rest of her night. So I said to her, you're fine. And I just love how helpful you are. And that happens to people all the time. So we don't want our kiddos right brains or their emotions to do all the interpreting. When Katie freaked out about being left at preschool, she was working mostly from her right brain. So in the next section here, we talk about whole brain strategy number 1. But before we do that, let's come back here, talking about combining the left and the right brain. And so I want to read the story and the vignette about Amanda. Let's talk about the key to helping Amanda when she had some big feelings. Let's go to page 19. We want to read that vignette on Amanda. Amanda mentioned a fight she'd had with her best friend. I knew from her mother that this argument had been extremely painful for Amanda. But as she talked about it, she just shrugged and stared out of the window saying, I don't really care if we never talk again. She annoys me anyway. The expression on her face seemed cold and resigned, but in a subtle quiver of her lower lips and the gentle opening and closing of her eyelids, almost like a tremor, I could sense the right hemisphere nonverbal signals revealing what we might call her real feelings. Rejection is painful, and at that moment, Amanda's way of dealing with the sense of vulnerability was to retreat to the left, running to the arid but predictable and controllable emotional desert of the left side of her brain. Anyone to help read?
I had to help her understand that even though it was painful to think about the conflict with her friend, she needed to pay attention to and even honor what was going on in her right brain. Since the right brain is more directly connected to our bodily sensations and the input from lower parts of the brain that combine together to create our emotions. In this way, all of the imagery, sensations, and autobiographical memories from the right are infused with emotion. When we're upset, it can feel safer to withdraw from this unpredictable right-sided awareness and retreat into the more predictable and controlled logical land of the left.
Key to helping Amanda was for me to attune to those real feelings gently. I didn't point out abruptly that she was hurting, even for herself, how this important person in her life had hurt her. Instead, I allowed myself to feel what she was feeling, then tried to communicate from my right brain to her right brain. Using my facial expressions and posture, I let her know that I was really tuning into her emotions. That attunement helped her feel felt, to know to know that she was not alone, that I was interested in what she was feeling inside, not only what she was doing on the outside. Then once we had established this sense of connection between us, words came more naturally for both of us, and we could begin to get to the bottom of what was going on inside her. By asking her to tell a story about the fight with her best friend and having her pause the story at different times to observe subtle shifts in her feelings, I was able to reintroduce Amanda to her real emotions and to help her deal with them in a productive way. This is how I tried to connect with both her right brain with its feelings, bodily sensations, and images, and with her left brain with its words and ability to tell the linear story of her experience. When we see how this happens in the brain, we can understand how linking the two sides to each other can change the outcome of an interaction.
Awesome. Thank you, readers. So do you see how this person, I don't know who this person talking to Amanda was, but he helped to put language, to put a face and the skin and the body to her emotions, because she had retreated from it and gone to a left and logical side. I don't even care about this person anyway, but then there were subtle signs that that is not true. There was a lot of emotion and a lot of sadness around this fight and this potential loss of a dear friend. All right. Any questions at this time? All right. So what you can do, helping your child work from both sides of the brain, whole brain strategy number 1. That's on page 22, the next page. The first one is to connect and redirect, surfing the emotional waves. There's a story here of Tina's 7-year-old son experiencing big waves of the right brain emotion without much left brain logical balance. What happened with Tina's 7-year-old son? What was the story around Tina's son?
He was having a hard time sleeping, and then woke up and was kind of just basically getting upset about like everything and everything around him. So.
So how did mom help him? Thank you. How did mom support and help her son? And so what we read about is connecting with the right, how we connect deeply with another person and allow them to feel felt. So what's happening with Tina's son here is similar to what happened with Amanda and aunt, counselor, I don't know. People want to feel felt. We like it, even though we might not be able to say that, but feeling felt is very, very important. Children want to be heard. They might not say that, they might deny it if you put it to them in that way. Hey, being heard is very, very important. No, it's not. I don't even want to talk about it. And they won't say, I'm lost in right brain. I'm too upset. So talking about it makes me even more mad. So attunement is very, very important. And we're going to learn more about attunement as we continue reading. So this is what you paid money for, my dear friends, to learn about these strategies. So the first one is connecting and redirecting. So you connect with the right. And so we'll learn about that in the next couple of slides. Are there any questions at this time? So connect with the right. You can use nonverbal signals. Siegel and Bryson talk about right to right attunement. Tina's 7-year-old son appeared in the living room shortly after going to bed, explaining that he couldn't go to sleep. He was clearly upset and explained that I'm mad that you never leave me a note in the middle of the night. That was not the problem. Then Amanda retreated and did not want to face her trouble. I have no idea what video I wanted to show you there. I suspect that was a different video. I will show you a video, but I cannot remember what video I was going to show you at this juncture. So use non-verbal signals to show that you are in attunement. You can communicate that with your eyes. Someone in a different class, as I was looking at reflections, I love those reflections because if there's an issue, we can catch it early and it's a conversation between me and my student, one-on-one, you know. And they said, I am super curious about masks, the impact that masks are having on especially children now, as we think about body image and self-esteem. Have you thought about that? So there's going to be all kinds of wonderful research talking at the impact that these masks have had on our lives. Anger management tips for children. So what are some ways of helping children manage their anger?
Having an outlet for it, sports, dancing.
So outlet, you give all kinds of super cool examples. 3 to 7-year-olds. You said cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing something in your mind as you say this?
For me, when I was little, my mom always cooks. So for me, when I was angry, she used to let me help her. So she was making little tortillas. She would help me like roll the masa balls, and then I would hand them to her, or she would like help me mix stuff together, dry ingredients together.
Thank you for sharing.
Sit in
Yeah.
the kitchen with her.
And that was comforting and soothing.
Yeah, it was comforting to me because it made
Yeah.
me feel like I was doing something, I was helping in some sort of way. And
Yeah.
it made me feel like very validated.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a platform for you to talk and unpack.
Yeah.
It became a safe place, right? So you're not the only one. Lots of families use that technique to cook and do food preparation together. It's a platform to bond. You said dancing. Dance parties can be fun and be a nice way to vent and release pent up, strong right brain emanating feelings. Anything else?
Like he used to like to fight a lot with other children when he was angry. So he so
How old was he?
He was 5 years old. And then he started getting a little older and like got more in touch with his feelings, but he's now 10 years old and he's continued with the boxing thing.
Okay.
And it like 10 years old is an age where they have a lot of hormones and emotions, and
Yeah.
it still has been very helpful for him.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic, wonderful, wonderful strategies that you have. You can model calmness for kids. Kid is mad, the adult can be the one to say, okay, I get it, you're really, really upset. But we gotta take some deep breaths because you are yelling and I can't hear you. So model calmness. When the child goes high, the adult needs to go low. I'm really upset. You can't, well, the matching energy technique in the video we watched last time, you gotta know where to match the energy. You can still match the energy, but in calmness. I teach my youth advocate, my youth skills trainers at the nonprofit. Okay, you're really upset. But right now you're yelling. I can't hear you. I can't help you if you're yelling at me. I just match their energy, but low. We were talking at the nonprofit about an incident that happened. It has become a classic example for training. We use it as a platform for training. This one particular training we do. We had well, this is an older kid, so not a relevant example for this class, but you can still have things like that with younger kids. This kid was 17 years old, and we used to allow cell phones back then. So this one kid had his cell phone on him, and we had a female identified staff member, and this kid took a picture. No, I think he did this. Took a selfie of himself and this lady. Boom. And then he says, I have a picture of you on my phone now. So she was not happy and wasn't having it. So she said, you gotta delete that. And so he was goofing around. I think he liked her, 17 years old. So probably all that chemistry flowing up and down, just didn't know what to do with it. So she says, please erase it. And he wasn't doing it. He was goofing around. He may have even taken more pictures. But after a few moments, he said, okay, I'm deleting it and look. And then he deleted a few, he started deleting the pictures. So she went and she grabbed his phone from him and started walking away. This young person had one bag to their name, their clothes, some paperwork, and that cell phone. That cell phone was his most important possession. And she grabbed the phone and was walking away. So he went behind this person and put them in a chokehold. But he quickly let go. Probably his left brain kicked in to say, don't do that. Don't do that. So another staff member who was watching this interaction was coming to assist and help. So he then also put this kid in a headlock. We have certified physical interventions in our program. Headlocking kids is not one of them. So what happened? He got lost in right brain too, this adult staff member who then came to help. He was much bigger than the kid too. And so the kid had gone high. And so he went high too and responded with his own stronger ×2 headlock. He doesn't work at the program anymore. So he needed to come down low. There are a couple of things he could have done, and that's part of the training we do. On a different day, I can show you some of the certified holds we use when a kiddo is in crisis and there is now an imminent safety risk to the child or to other kids. But sometimes the kids get so upset and they start punching walls. So if they keep doing that, or if they start bashing their head because now they want to die and they want to just end all this, they're bashing their heads, you have to intervene because now that's a major safety concern. You can see those behaviors in younger kids too. So you model calmness. I was talking at You model calmness. And you can do that and apply what you learned in the video last week to mirror their energy and help them calm down. You can exit and calm down. What did the child psychiatrist say? He said, okay, you're really upset right now. I'm gonna leave so that you can cry it out and then I'll come check on you in a minute. Sometimes you gotta do that. Develop a feeling vocabulary. That becomes super important, especially before the child flips their lid. Creating a calm down poster, a process to calm down. Hey, sometimes you get really upset. You remember how yesterday you got so upset? It was scary, wasn't it? Oh man, it was not fun at all. So what worked yesterday? Oh, you said some comforting stuff to me. And you can map out what the de-escalation process can look like. Even with young kids, you can do that. Develop an awareness of early warning signs, teach anger control strategies. So all of this is extra information that is not in your text, but I'm not making this up coming from scientific sources, okay? Any questions? Step number 2 in connect and redirect is redirect with the left. So number 1, we said connect with the right and then redirect with the left. Name it to tame it is what Siegel gives you. Telling stories to calm big emotions. So retell the story, e.g. Bella and the flushing toilet. That's on page 25. Don't force the child to talk if they're not yet ready. The timing of this conversation has to be very important. Never when the child is still upset because they are still lost in right brain mode. So look for a time when they're fully de-escalated and say, hey, so when you were super upset, you punched me twice. I'd love to talk about that. Or you punched the telly, whatever. So don't talk to them when their lid is flipped. So the timing of the conversation is very, very important. Katie at school, new associations with school. So in this section, they go back again to that story of Katie who was now afraid to go to school. And so dad helped her to come up with new association. Act primarily as a facilitator as child retells the story. Help them retell the story of what happened and why they got so upset and then what happened when they were upset. The parent helps the child to use both brains to make sense of it. If talking about it is hard, you can draw a picture of the event, or if the child is old enough, they can journal and write about it. And then as the child tells the story, Siegel and Bryson advise the reader that, hey, you are helping the child fill in the blanks of their story. After retelling the story several times, you remember Bella? Bella is the kiddo who was in an accident with the child care giver who then had an epileptic fit as they were driving. Remember that kiddo? That was Bella. So the more times Bella told the story, the more Bella's fears lessened and eventually went away. We can give words to our frightening and painful experiences when we literally come to terms with them. All right, are you still here? Ready to watch a video? Okay, while I set up the video, I will need you to do that, okay? So get ready to do those things after we watch a short video. Then you can talk to the other humans in space.
Parent has been there, your toddler having a real forlorn tantrum at home, in public at the worst possible time, and there seems to be no way to stop the screaming. Now here's hope. In today's American Family, parenting contributor Ann Plachette Murphy has discovered a way to comfort your child and maybe even prevent those tantrums before they start.
It looks weird. It sounds crazy.
No, honey, you don't want to go in the car seat.
But it could put an end to the terrible twos. This radical new approach from renowned pediatrician Dr. Harvey Carr helps parents communicate with their toddlers by learning to talk like a caveman.
It's not the normal way we talk to kids, but I'm telling you, that's the normal way kids talk to us.
Stop it. Okay, get in the car.
It's amazing because you can have highs where he says your name and he comes up and gives you a hug, and that's the greatest thing ever. And then 2 minutes later, he's throwing his food across the table and he jumps on the strike.
Two sets of parents took on this challenge and recorded video diaries. First up, Kathleen and Adam Chamorro. Watch their 3-year-old Christian as he howls. Kiss, Christian, and kiss. His favorite phrase?
When he hits somebody or when he's rude to somebody, go away. He says that to a lot of people. And that really, really gets on my nerves.
Up next, Miriam and Justin Bookie. The challenge is not only managing 18-month-old Leo's outbursts, but the constant fights with his 3-year-old brother Jack.
It's triage. Who's ever having the biggest meltdown to address first, and just hope the other one can deal for a little while.
What is very scary for me and frustrating is when he throws himself down and hits his head on the floor. Arches his back and bonks his head. I have to run to catch him before he does it.
The author of the new book, The Happiest Toddler on the Block, Dr. Karp has spent 25 years treating thousands of children. Having witnessed countless tantrums, he claims the secret to taming toddlers isn't what you say, but how you say it.
And there are 3 steps in toddler race. First is short little phrases. The second is that it's very, very repetitive.
You want your dinner.
And the third is that you get close to the level of energy that the child is displaying.
No cookie, no.
Here we are practicing. In a minute, we'll show you the dramatic results. The toddler years are notoriously stressful. Mothers of toddlers are twice as likely to suffer from depression as any other mom, not to mention the tremendous strain on a marriage.
Well, it's affected our relationship in that sometimes we disagree on what to do.
Well, it's no accident that the toddler in the Flintstones was named Bam Bam. Toddlers are passionate and they don't follow the rules. They're uncivilized.
After 3 weeks of toddlerese, our couples experienced extraordinary results. Christian hits far less often and has fewer meltdowns.
You don't like it like it's closed. You don't like it.
I know you don't want to go. I know you don't want to go, but we're going to go. You don't want to go. You don't want to go. But we're going to go. We're going to go.
It's more helpful for me throughout the day to do it and circumvent little problems. The big tantrums are infrequent now.
Now that the bookies speak fluent toddlerese, little Leo is calmer, and so is everyone else.
From what I have seen, his tantrums went down about 75%. And the intensity of the tantrums was cut in half.
It's not just about averting a tantrum when it happens. It's about preventing tantrums before they happen by communicating and connecting better with your child.
You want, you practice, you want.
And joining us now is Dr. Harvey Karp, and a lot of toddlers and their moms around us, and there's a lot of activity, and they've been really well behaved.
They're doing great. My people.
You said, and people think what you're doing are working miracles, but you said a fast food rule is the basis.
Yeah, well, there are two things that parents have to understand. The first is called the fast food rule, which means that who's ever hungriest for attention goes first. And so rather than rushing into a distraction when your child is upset,
Right.
you always start by repeating back what's going on with them before you get to what you want to say about the distraction or the reasons that you want to do something.
Okay, we lost one of your subjects. It's over there in the water cooler area, but I think they should come back on. Don't worry about that. So give us the 3 steps that you're talking about.
So once you know that the child goes first, then you translate what you want to say into something I call toddlerese, which is the primitive way that our kids understand language. First step is use short phrases. The second step is you repeat those phrases over and over again, 5 to 10 times. And the third step is that you reflect or mirror the level of energy that your child has, or close to that level. I'm not saying if they're screaming on the floor, you get on the floor with them. But if you don't bump up your level of energy, they don't think that you get the message.
So even if you're at the supermarket or something like that, you're talking about getting down with them and mirroring that same kind of energy, no matter where you are.
That doesn't matter. As far as they're concerned, it doesn't matter. And then if they're just a little upset, you might be something like this. You want cookie. You want cookie. You say, give me cookie, mommy. You want cookie. Before you get to the point of, no cookie, it's dinner time soon. If they're really upset, it's much more passionate. You want, give it to me. I'll tell you something funny. When we get mad, we get blind with anger. Toddlers get deaf with anger, and they need the repetition for them to even begin to hear it.
Dr. Karp, thank you very much. I think Diane has a little toddler over, and she's got her well in control. Mom, are you okay about Diane handling your child? All right. To learn more about these techniques that Dr. Karp was talking about, read an excerpt of The Happiest Toddler on the Block on our website, abcnews.com. Really well behaved.
And I'm happy to say it's a video as well.
All right, and a video as well. Coming up next, a 6.
Take a minute. You're going to share your responses in groups. So please bring something to the table. All right, connect with 2 or 3 others and share your responses. And let's make it 5 minutes, not 10. At Lowett, you can join the gentleman behind you. Sid, you can choose where you want to go, but you 3 can work together.
Yeah. don't know if I've ever seen that. I guess what got me the most was how, like, videos, like, how willing it seemed from parents at least to a certain extent to do this. Granted, I don't know how I'm also not like, so I can't say like, I'm comfortable saying that, and being like that same level of energy. She's just thinking, you know, but it's kind of like, what are you talking about? I feel as though doing that would only make them more upset because they're not feeling heard. And now all of a sudden punishment is brought in like China. Right. And I just feel like this is a lot more efficient. I should agree with it. If it's working, it's working, and it's not working in the right direction. It's not. Like I was told that I was gonna get 10 out of it. But I never felt it. So I think being able to convey that you do hear the child, they are heard, they are understood, redirect is helpful.
The mom was had the car, she just repeating, like it's kind of that same thing, that's your set. That's what really helped, you're really you want that. I used to like my that same thing like the kids like whatever they were like
Take one more minute.
It makes me wonder in that. That is very true. There's a way. There's a way for us to understand. Like, in the teens in high school, you know, when you had to charge and that's your. And they do like that. They do where. We know it works in toddlers. Right. Just kidding. Right. It's kind of like a routine.
I want her to do it, and then it's. So I had two friends before they moved to they were doing assisted living. And because they weren't on the nurse, I had a cousin with them. They would have paid, like, they were both doing the kitchen, laundry, under that umbrella and stuff. And they told me that the nurses didn't talk to them like toddlers, but like if this was a person and like also hospital where they're not all there. I would talk to them. We would use much simpler terms than that kind of thing. Now, I'm not too sure, like, I believe it's, you know, much different because it's not a toddler, it's an adult. But because that's like some similarities. Yeah.
Very different. I feel like maybe thank you, grandma, like. I don't know. Makes me hopeful. That's. Yeah. I don't want to like, whether you like it or not, those are it. But she's like. Yeah, like, you know. That's why I asked, I was like, I'm embarrassed. That would be interesting. Because I'm sure there is. But it's like, well, guess what? Specialist, so. There's a guy, I'm a specialist, but.
I wanna look for the present. So. So. Research and evidence. It's okay if someone. But here, folks with this program, so. So, scientific based.
I go to the back door.
So I will find them.
Still there.
Yeah. Time runs out when you're having fun. We can pick it up in the next class. And we'll talk about this briefly in the next class before we go to chapter 3. These are the reflection questions. And I will call it good for today. Have a beautiful afternoon. Bye-bye.
I want to apologize for not coming last class. I was really sick.
That's all right. I understand.
I got COVID tested because my sister kind of scared me, and I don't have COVID, but I just had like a really bad cold. I am gonna work on the attendance participation from the video. I need to watch the video still. I will get that in today.
Okay, when you're done, you gotta send me an email. It was like, now I've already graded everything, so I'm not
There
gonna go
was-
back, so.
There was one thing in the grade book that I'm